Can you believe it? It's been 11 years since the release of GTA 5. But more importantly, we're now a year away from the release of GTA 6, give or take, and assuming the game isn't delayed. So I thought this was a good time to go over everything we know about GTA 6 at this point. Or more accurately, everything we think we know, because we've had very little information officially, just one trailer and a release window. But we've had plenty of leaks over the past few years, so I'll be taking in those, with the disclaimer that obviously we don't know how much of what we've seen in the leaks will be in the final game. Now, I was originally going to sit down for hours researching and rewatching videos from the leaks, but it turned out I didn't need to do that because other people in the GTA community have already done that and helpfully compiled it in a single document. This is it here, the GTA document, they're calling it. It was put together by these guys here, so huge credit to them, and I will of course link the full document in the description so you can check it out for yourself. So make yourself comfortable, this is going to be a long video. So firstly, let's start with what we know officially. Well, we know that the game will be set in the fictional state of Leonida, or Leonida, Rockstar's take on Florida, although potentially also inspired by other states as well. We'll get to that later. And as Rockstar puts it, Leonida, or Leonida, is home to the neon-soaked streets of Vice City, which, as we know, is inspired by Miami. We've been to Vice City before, back in GTA Vice City, which was set in the 1980s, and it looks like we'll get to return to some of our favourite locations from that game, including Vice Beach and what in real life and in GTA Vice City is called Ocean Drive. However, we'll be revisiting in the modern day, because that's when GTA 6 takes place. And of course, no immersive story-driven game could be set in the modern day without the inclusion of social media. So of course, that will play a role in the game, including with a TikTok-inspired app, possibly an evolution of Snapmatic from GTA 5. In the trailer, a montage of the social media clips helps to set the scene for the kind of eccentric characters we might encounter in the game, but also introduces us to the world, Vice City and beyond. We see in-game versions of the Florida Everglades, the Florida Keys, the Venetian Causeway, the Wynwood neighborhood of Miami. There are also buildings inspired by the Brickell building in Miami and the Casilla Center. On top of that, we see a muddy area with what appears to be some sort of monster trucking event, and we see mentions of areas called Port Gellhorn, Stockyard, Kelly County, Hamlet, and Vice City International Airport. On top of all that, we see nightclubs, rooftop parties, car meets, bike races, and a prison. And that's where we meet one of our two protagonists, Lucia. She's in prison and speaking to a prison employee who appears to be called Stephanie. It's not clear what Lucia's in prison for, but it seems likely that this is towards the beginning of the game, especially because in the promotional image for GTA 6, it looks like Lucia's wearing a prison ankle monitor. And later on, we see her robbing stores alongside her partner in crime, whose name we don't officially know, but we'll get onto that later. Now, this unidentified man is not only Lucia's partner in crime, but also apparently her love interest. We see them later on in the trailer in a motel room. Lucia's almost topless and is on top of Jason, touching his bare chest. And they talk about trust, possibly hinting at a potential rift between them in the story. It's also worth pointing out that Lucia seems to let out a kind of joyful scream as the couple are apparently driving away from a store they've just robbed. This could possibly suggest that she isn't just doing this for the money, but that she also gets some sort of thrill out of it. And on top of that, Lucia appears to lead the way during the robbery scenes we're shown, potentially revealing that she is the one in charge. Now, before we move on to what we know from the leaks, just a few things we also see in the trailer. Obviously, lots of vehicles. I'm not going to list every single one of them, but I'll give a brief overview of the types of vehicles we see, besides the ones we would obviously expect, like cars and trucks. We see passenger jets, minibuses, speedboats and speedboats on trailers, helicopters, amphibious helicopters, seaplanes pulling banners, airboats, jet skis, luxury yachts, cargo ships, monster trucks and ATVs. We also see the police using a variety of different vehicles with all different liveries, and we see a new type of sparkly paint or wrap that's used on some cars. We also know that animals are back, and we see loads of them in the trailer: birds, dolphins, alligators, deer, flamingos, dogs, and an iguana. We also see a load of returning brands and companies, including the beers Pisswasser and Lager, and Weasel News. And on top of that, some new names such as 919, Crosstown, Ride On Customs, Vice Vinyls, Thrillbilly Mud Club, and High Rollers Magazine. And a door to one of the liquor stores has a sticker for iFruit Pay, inspired by Apple Pay. And of course, we now know officially from Take-Two Interactive, Rockstar's parent company, that GTA 6 is on track to be released in fall or autumn 2025. Which is basically late September until late December. Okay, and now onto the information we have from the leaks. These are mostly from 2022, when a hacker known as Teapot Uber Hacker released nearly an hour's worth of early development footage, as well as some other details. Firstly, the leaks gave us the names of the protagonists. We now have Lucia confirmed, but based on these, the male second protagonist is called Jason. A report from the well-respected gaming journalist Jason Schreier said that GTA 6 would feature a Bonnie and Clyde style storyline of a couple carrying out robberies together, so by that logic, Lucia is the Bonnie and Jason is the Clyde. According to the leaks, Lucia is about 5'3" or 160 centimetres, and Jason is about 6'1", 185 centimetres. Besides the protagonists, we also see other characters mentioned: Dre, Sam, Kai, Billy, Tit, Zach, Shanice, R.B. Shaw, Danny, Iris, Chester, Dale, and Wyman. We actually see some footage of Wyman in the leaks at what appears to be an apartment complex or hotel, and he appears to be a conspiracy theorist character. He claims that Finland doesn't exist, and he claims that Jay Norris isn't dead. Now, anyone who's played GTA 5 will know that Jay Norris is a kind of Mark Zuckerberg-inspired character who is killed off by Michael in a mission early on in the game. So this reference by Wyman clearly confirms that GTA 6 will exist in the same universe as GTA 5, and therefore GTA 4 as well, as if there was any doubt about that. We also get references to a couple of gangs in the game: San for San, which is a Haitian gang, and the Guardia or Guardia brothers. A far-right militia is also mentioned in the world events list. Moving on to items, we have trauma kits, painkillers, and food and drink, including wine, soda, and fruit, which will presumably be there as a way of healing our character. We also have a USB drive, torch or flashlight, cigarettes, binoculars, and a duffel bag and backpack for looting. There are also a load of different golf clubs: a driver, putter, iron, and wedge. And there's a pool cue, which presumably works as a weapon. A crowbar and cut-off tool will presumably help you break into things, and a Slim Jim lockpick and immobilizer bypass will likely be new ways of breaking into cars. I made a whole video about this, so please go and check that out if you're interested. There's also a tracker jammer, which I assume will prevent GPS tracking, possibly by the police. And there's something called an auto dialer, which in real life is something that's used for making like fraud calls, but it's not clear what it'll be used for in-game. Some of these items, but not all of them, will be shared between Jason and Lucia. As for weapons, we've got a rocket launcher, assault rifle, polymer pistol, bolt-action sniper, spear gun, compact SMG, micro SMG, heavy machine gun, pump-action shotgun, hunter sniper, auto rifle, baseball bat, knife, Molotov, smoke grenade, and flashbang, and presumably more than that. The leaks also gave us a look at the weapon wheel, and it appears to be a bit more sophisticated than in GTA 5. It's recreated in this document, and it appears that you may be able to choose which hand you hold a weapon in, possibly suggesting that you can dual wield. According to the leaks, there are at least 157 interiors in the game. These include petrol stations, pawn shops, supermarkets, restaurants, bars, strip clubs, apartments, motels, and laundries. All of these will be able to enter. In one of the most prominent clips from the leaks, we see a robbery at a cafe called Hank's Waffles. Now, this clip itself tells us a lot about the robberies, which I'll quickly go through. During the robbery, there are multiple tills. If you approach the cashier and point a gun at them, you're given the option to threaten or shout at them. There's also an option to check in with the other protagonist, in this case Jason. You can also interact with the customers at the cafe. Rather than running away, they sort of freak out and act like hostages. And if you point a gun at them, you can rob, melee, or restrain them by tying their hands. During this time, at the top of the screen, a timer is counting down, which says, "Time until cops are dispatched." Eventually that runs down and changes to "Cops arriving" and says, "You are wanted. Escape the cops to avoid becoming busted." It's not clear how much of this will be seen in the final version of the game, though. You can hear customers reacting to the police arriving. One says, "Finally." But interestingly, the cops don't rush inside the building. They wait outside for Jason and Lucia to come out. And in the footage, Lucia then shoots a customer and is given the option to loot his body or pick it up. We're also given the option to surrender to the police, and at the top of the screen it says "full description," which suggests that the cops know what we look like and it will be harder to shake them. We then see no vehicle description, which then changes to full vehicle description. Again, it's not clear how much of this we will see in the final game. A feature we also see in this footage and some other footage is one used by Jason, where he appears to be able to scout out valuable items worth stealing, and even CCTV cameras with some sort of eagle eye system. It's possible this is a special ability that's unique to Jason, and maybe Lucia has a different special ability, or maybe this is something they can both do. Besides from stores, the leaks suggest we'll also be able to rob delivery vans, launder money, sell goods to fences, and buy businesses. But every criminal needs to take time out from their life of crime, so we can also expect scuba diving, races, fishing, golf, and even dice. And if none of that is boring enough for you, it seems that Jason will be able to collect hats. Let's have a look now at some of the other new features and mechanics. We'll be able to walk while in cover, go prone, drop and pick up weapons, switch shoulders while aiming, communicate with the other protagonist and even ping them. We'll be able to cover our faces with weapons while under fire, revive ourselves after taking a heavy hit to health, grapple during fistfights, and shooting from car windows will work differently with the camera and the view we get. As you would expect, enemy AI and NPCs are improved, as is the way we interact with them. NPCs will walk around and converse in groups rather than on their own all the time. Vehicle damage and handling will also be improved. We'll be able to sit in the passenger seat or crawl across it to get to the driver's seat. Bullets will create sparks when hitting vehicles. Ammo clips stay on the ground for longer after being dropped. We'll have more realistic lighting and weather physics with volumetric clouds and thicker fog, potentially even hurricanes. There's also this whole section in the document about attention to detail, which points out that we'll be able to see raccoons rummaging through rubbish bins and stealing bags of food. So there you go, raccoons confirmed. And for all those font nerds, the font or typeface, I suppose, for things like subtitles, tips, button prompts, and the interaction menu looks set to be Neue Helvetica Pan-European 67 Condensed Medium. There you go. The leaks also featured some music, but most of it was just stuff copied over from GTA 5, except Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple, that legendary song that everyone learns to play in their first guitar lesson. Also, I think we can say for sure now that Temptation by Heaven 17 will definitely not be on the soundtrack in any way. In terms of transportation, we see a number of existing vehicles in the leaks. I won't read them all out, but they're listed here, so you can pause the video and read them if you like. But we also see some cars that we haven't seen in GTA 5. They are a Chevrolet Sonic hatchback, Buick Skylark sedans, Honda Accord, Ford Explorer, Ford Ranger, Subaru Forester SUV, Chrysler Sebring, and Ford Taurus. It also looks like we're getting an in-game version of the Metro Mover, which is a kind of transit system in downtown Miami. And there's also mention of a horse. It says here in one of the clips with Jason in the debug menu, you can see written input_horse_exit. But the people who compiled the document point out that could be left over from Red Dead Redemption 2, so let's not say just yet that horse riding is confirmed for GTA 6. Next up, we have locations. There's going to be an area based on Edgewater, which is an area of Miami, North Vice City, Rock Ridge, which is based on Little Havana, and there we will find the Vice City Mambas football stadium, Little Haiti, Vice Beach, South Beach, Washington Beach, an area based on Key Biscayne, where there's a tennis stadium, Port Gellhorn, which looks like one of the bigger locations on the map. There's also Ambrosia, Sundown, the Keys, La Perle or La Perla, Red Hill, Ekinfanaka, and Lake Leonida, which is probably inspired by Lake Okeechobee, Hamlet and Stockyard, as I pointed out previously, and then it seems like the in-game version of the Everglades will be called the Grass Rivers, and it seems like there will be some fracking going on there, as well as a plane crash and some domed houses. These are things I've spoken about in my previous locations video, which, again, you should go and check out. And if we go underwater, we can see ruins, a whale graveyard, and even an underwater research facility, which is a real thing in Florida. The document also points out some of the location names that look like they're returning from GTA Vice City, including Leaf Links, which is a golf club, the Malibu Club, Washington Beach, Ocean Drive, Ocean View, and Little Haiti. Now, it also points out some other things that are mentioned in the leaks, including Sugarloaf Mountain, domed hills, canyon etchings, and it mentions you can see some hills and mountains in some of the leaked footage. Now, Florida is a notoriously flat state, so it's possible that Leonida is inspired by surrounding states like Georgia, for example. There are also loads of other references to locations in the leaks, which I will go through quickly now. Abandoned research outpost, abandoned carnival, abandoned hotel, abandoned observatory, roadside giant fish building, starlet motel, squatting garage, standing garage, spaceship house, driftwood house, holiday house, massage parlour, bait and tackle shop, souvenir store, Uncle Jack's liquor, Iris laundry and Iris restaurant, sandbar stations, apartment complex, bingo hall, body shop, bulk storage, cafe caraway, cash and carry, treasured trash, little library, dinosaur world, fairyland forest, rose interstate, pet cemetery, paper mill ruins, ancient labyrinth visitor centre, air station, airfield, singing road, dairy farm, cave, junkyard, mine shaft, toxic floating trash island, survival compound, hunting shelters, small camper spots, island camp, sand pyramids, sand sphinx, sniper's nest, shooting death memorial, drug lab trailer park, drug lab trailer small, drug lab apartment, wastewater plant, lean scissor lab, backyard wrestling ring, quarry, canyon etchings as I mentioned before, lifeguard tower, lighthouse, Redneck Yacht Club, Sea View, Shooting Range, Chalk Art, Vice City Monster Sculpture, Sculpted Shrubbery, Sofa Tree Swing, Miami Peacock Statues, and Kraken Sculpture. The document also points out a few references to real-life places, such as St. Joseph Marina Water, the Fountain of Youth, South North Miami and Everglades, Bermuda Triangle, and Bohemia. Now, hundreds of world events were revealed in the leaks, and I won't go through them all because that'll take forever, and I've already done a whole video on that. But this document highlights some of the more interesting ones. You can pause to read them all, but I'll go through quick and pick out some of the ones that most stood out to me. Parking dispute, broken down racer, DUI sobriety test, stuck vehicle, swamp, airport drag, car pullover, drug deal, mansion, kidnapped victim, high cashier, prison hitchhiker, truck hangout, dealer robbery, dealership theft, spiritual journey, lost bird, naked Rolex, runaway cow, dead husband disposal, burnt wreckage, swamp tour crash, abandoned car, missing tourists, mountain biker corpse, UFO animal/house pen, sunken airboat, Zorbing accident, shark cage, World War II plane, SERA space launch capsule, trains in forest, Bonnie and Clyde mystery barn find, dirty cop shakedown, message in a bottle, lost plane, Scarface crime scene, Big Cat Mansion, Mummified Old Lady, Haunted Warehouse, Warehouse Sex Robots, Voice in the Storm Drain, Skunk Ape, Mineshaft Discovery, Lighthouse Mystery, and Swamp Safari Crazy Golf. Now, the document also features images of some of the real-world locations of some of the locations in the game. Again, I'll skip through them quickly, but please feel free to pause or go and look for yourself. So here is Ocean Beach in real life, Edgewater, Interstate 97, Margaret Pace Park, Lone Depot Park, Miami Airport Station, Central Vice City, the King of Diamonds nightclub, which appears to have inspired the Jack of Hearts nightclub in the game, the Solar Amphitheatre at Bayfront Park, and the Crandon Park Tennis Stadium. And finally, just to wrap up, here's a look at some of the new brands in the game. We've got Arches, Bump and Grind, Harmon and Phoenix, Chasey's, Hank's Waffles, Marco, Shorefront, Sprunk Light, Vice City Metro Mule, What Up, which appears to be an in-game version of the messaging platform WhatsApp, VCIA or Vice City International Airport, the Rusty Anchor, which is a music venue, Vice City Mambas, Core Software, and Delights. And it looks like some products or companies will be rebranded, such as Byte, Snapmatic, Bleater, Ecola, and Sprunk. And here are some of the other returning brands: Burger Shot, Life Invader, Taco Bomb, Horny's Burgers, LTD Gasoline, Pisswasser, CNT, Household Order Bin Operations or Hobo, Hinterland, Val de Grace, I think that's how it's pronounced, Chappelle, Redwood Cigarettes, Device, Fleecer, Stronzo, Fahrstunken, Shark, Limit, Want, and Classique. And the question everyone's been asking, what animals will feature in the game? Well, we've seen snakes, seagulls, skunks, raccoons, alligators, boars, wading birds, squirrels, southern leopard frogs, crayfish, lizards, skunk ape, which is sort of a Florida version of Bigfoot, I suppose, pigeons, opossums, and whales. And just in terms of multiplayer, there's not a whole lot we know about the new GTA Online at the moment, but the leaks do suggest 30-player lobbies plus 2 slots for spectators, so no change there by the looks of it. So that is everything we know and everything we think we know about GTA 6, 1 year, hopefully, away from its release. Please let me know what you're most excited about and what features, either mentioned here or not mentioned here, you'd like to see in the game. And if you made it this far, well done and thank you. Please let me know by typing a comment that says, I don't know, I can't wait for jiggle physics or something like that.